The Last Night of Freddy's is a FNaF fan game that no one remembers. It was released in 2015 and was developed by Tommaso De Dio. I played this game back in January and I was quite shocked by how obscure this game is. There isn't many videos in this game and trying to find any information outside of its game drop page is like trying to find Shadow Bonnie in FNaF 2. This game was in development for quite a long time. The game began development in May of 2015, a demo for the game would come out in Halloween, and on December 10th, 2015, the full game was released. With the introduction out of the way, let's talk about this game. The game takes place in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which recently closed down after a dead body was found in one of the animatronic suits, where you play as a night guard named Chris Pax. Pretty much your standard FNaF fan game premise. You know, where you just play as a night guard working at your summer job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Hello and welcome to your new winter job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Oh, actually no, it's a winter job. One thing that I find very interesting about this game is that there's actually only two mechanisms in the entire game. One of them is the cameras, but I mean, they're in most FNaF fan games. The other one is this thing that is described as just being a device on your right. It doesn't actually have a name. How it works is you have these coloured squares and you have this black line that is constantly going back and forth. And when an animatronic appears, you have to click the device when the line is touching the green or the blue. But if you touch any of the reds when an animatronic appears, then you're dead. You might think that two mechanisms will make this game very easy, but actually, no, it's actually quite a challenging game. Well, sometimes it is. The thing is with this game is that all of the animatronics AI is completely randomized, no exceptions. Because of that, you could quite easily get through the first night by doing nothing, and there are 4 animatronics active on night 1, so that's saying quite a lot. And if you get really lucky, you could possibly beat night 2 by doing nothing. But on some of the later nights, this game can actually be quite intense. And I will also say that this game is actually quite scary. It does have that dark, isolated feel that the original FNaF games have. I also really like the sounds used. They really do add to the creepy factor, made even better that most of them are actually original sounds. So this is a 2015 FNaF fan game, so I'm sure you're probably thinking, how well does this game run? Compared to other 2015 FNaF fan games, The Last Night of Freddy's actually still functions quite well. However though, that's not really saying much. While the game does run smoothly, there are 2 bugs that I encountered quite a lot whilst playing the game. One of them is where you pull your camera down, you're automatically facing the left and you're unable to look to the right. If this happens, what you need to do is look at your camera, and then when you put your camera back down again, it should have fixed the problem. The other bug is a lot more common and also a lot more annoying. Sometimes when you try to put the camera up or down, it just doesn't work. When this happens, you just gotta keep flicking your mouse until it eventually works. And this can really fuck you over if it happens to you at the worst time. There is also another bug that I encountered, but I'll talk about that a bit later. Now let's talk about the animatronics. You've probably noticed something about the animatronic designs, and yeah, they're not great. They look pretty stilted, and is it just me or do their graphics stick out from the rest of the game? I'll admit they do look kinda creepy, but more so in an uncanny way rather than an actual scary way. As for the characters themselves, the main 4 return: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy. Bonnie and Chica both do the same thing. They'll appear on your right hall and you've got to deactivate them when you see them. Foxy becomes active on night 2. If he appears in the left hall, you still deal with him the same way as you deal with everyone else, however though Foxy is extremely fast. So to prevent him from attacking at an inconvenient time, you gotta keep watching cam 2. Then we have Freddy, who becomes active on night 3. Freddy attacks from the right hall, however you can't actually see him when he's there. So when Freddy's in cam 3, that's when you have to deal with him. Here's something quite weird about Freddy though. Sometimes after you deal with him, he'll attack pretty much straight after. I'm not sure if this is a bug or if it's supposed to do this. This game also has its own version of Fredbear, and I'm kind of mixed on his design. He definitely looks quite scary and is definitely intimidating up close. but his design's kind of a mess and it has the same rendering problem as the other animatronics in this game. You probably already noticed this, but Fredbear is the animatronic that had a corpse in it. Fredbear becomes active on night 3 and will attack from a left hall. Fredbear actually makes laughing sounds whenever he moves. Now let's talk about the new animatronics. One of them is Dave, the astronaut animatronic, who I would say is probably got the best design of any animatronic in the game. He seems to be better rendered, and because he doesn't really have a face, it means that he doesn't look very goofy. There's also a pretty disturbing detail about Dave, which I'll get to later on. Dave is probably the most aggressive animatronic in the game as well. He acts very differently to everyone else in the game. When he's in cam 3, you gotta keep looking at him until he goes away. Remember how I said that the movement of the animatronics is randomized? Well, that includes Dave when he's in cam 3. It could take anywhere between about 10 and 30 seconds for him to go away. Also, whenever Dave moves, he makes a pretty creepy noise. Another new animatronic is Charlie, who I will say is probably one of the better looking animatronics, but he still looks a bit messy. He's also probably the biggest shithead in the game. How he works is he attacks from a left hall, but you can't actually see him when he's there. So when he leaves cam 1, that's when you're supposed to deal with him. Doesn't really seem so bad, but there is one problem though. If someone moves into cam 1 when Charlie's in it, you can't see him anymore, and he makes no noise when he moves. So on night 3 onwards, whenever someone's in cam 1, the best thing to do is just click the device every once in a while. Another new animatronic is Kai the cat, who actually looks alright, although I don't know what's up with this cactus looking stick. Kai acts the same way as Bonnie and Chica, but just has a different movement pattern. I think that's all to really say about the animatronics, unless there's something else worth mentioning. Oh wait, yeah, there's actually 2 animatronics that I never encountered, that being Shadow and Golden Freddy. I tried to find out how to find these animatronics and I found absolutely no information. There is an Easter egg in the extras menu where if you stare at Golden Freddy for too long, he jump scares you. So it's possible that Golden Freddy might only exist as an extras menu Easter egg and isn't actually an enemy. According to the extras menu though, Shadow does actually have a jump scare. I'm guessing it's probably a Golden Freddy-like Easter egg that is just very rare to come across. If you happen to know how to encounter Shadow, or better have footage of the encounter, then please let me know in the comments. Now it's time to talk about what is to me the most noteworthy thing about this game. After a night ends, you get 2 different types of minigames, the Dream minigames and the Arcade minigames. After beating night 1, you get the first Dream minigame. This actually has you get up and leave your office. You have to walk to the end of the hallway, and when you get to the end, it gives you the choice between going left and right. If you go right, you get jump scared by Callie and the dream ends. If you go left though, then, well, you go left, nothing interesting happens. This might not seem like much, but keep in mind that this was 2015. This was before any of the Final Nights games. Being able to actually walk around the place was actually very ambitious for the time. After you beat night 2, you get an arcade minigame. In this minigame you play as Dave, who is on stage with who I can only assume is probably Charlie. When you walk towards a child, she gets taken away by the pink guy. And then it ends after that. On night 3 you get another dream minigame. If you got attacked by Callie in the first minigame, it starts off with you being on the floor. If not though, it just starts off with you going left. The dreams basically show you trying to escape the pizzeria, although there doesn't seem to be any choices on this dream. Despite that though, this is actually quite scary when you first play it. The dreams do have an unnerving atmosphere, and you definitely get the feeling that you could just get jump scared at any minute. The second dream ends with you exiting the vent. After beating night 4 you get another arcade minigame. In this minigame you seem to be in a parts and service room and you play as a crying person. I'm not sure why this person's crying, but it's possible that corpse might have something to do with it. You go inside of the Freddy suit, then you go up to the dead body, and then... well, that's a bit gruesome. He just cleanly rips out the guy's skeleton. And then he gets the skeleton and stuffs it into the Dave animatronic. So that skull inside of Dave's helmet is actually a person's skull. And now we have the game's ending. However though, before we talk about that though, I would like to talk about the jump scares. In fact, let's rank all the jump scares from worst to best. I'm not going to be ranking Shadow's jump scare though, because I never actually encountered it. Anyway, let's begin. I usually really like lunging jump scares, but this one just looks really silly. For some reason it looks like Foxy's being thrown at you rather than him actually jumping on you. Dave just pops up and barely even moves, he's just very awkwardly up in your face. I would have definitely ranked this jump scare higher if it weren't for that really awkward freeze at the end where Bonnie's still moving his mouth. I'm sorry, I just can't take this seriously. It's another jump scare where the character barely moves, but I'll put it higher than Dave's though because Charlie at least moves his head a bit more. Chica just kind of pops up and screams, but it just looks a bit more scary than some of the other ones though. So Fredbear grabs you, I guess that's kind of scary, but he doesn't really shake you much though. Nothing really special about this one either. Kylie just kind of gets very close to your face, but it's not awkward or anything, so I have it quite high. Same kind of thing as Kylie's jump scare really, but I just think this one's a bit better. I do like how you're basically being jumped by Kelly and then it just ends straight after that. That's pretty good. Jump scare itself, yeah, it's alright I guess. This is the only jump scare I actually describe as being scary. I mean, kill screen jump scares are never great for me because, well, it's just someone's face. But in either Golden Freddy staring straight at you is definitely creepy. Whilst on the topic of jump scares, this game actually has a pretty cool game over screen. Now let's talk about the game's endings. Yeah, that's right. Endings. On night 5, the phone guy fucking dies.
Wait. No! No! No!
After you beat night 5, you go to the exit where you encounter this guy with an axe. This was foreshadowed in the night 5 phone call.
Someone must have tampered with these animatronics. And whoever did could be in there with you right now.
I think he's also the pink guy that we saw in the night 2 minigame. So the guy comes at you with an axe and that's when the game tells you to spam the S key. If you don't, he kills you and then you get the bad ending. If you do spam S, you take the axe off him and then you get the choice to either kill or spare him. Regardless of your decision though, you still get the good ending. I don't really get this ending. By the looks of it, you freed the souls of the dead children. But at no point in the game do you do anything that would make this happen. When I first played this game, I decided to kill the killer, and doing that is what freed the children. That does make sense. But then if you spare the killer though, then you get the same ending. Sure, it's a nice ending and all, but it doesn't really make much sense in the long run. Oh yeah, well actually, it's not the end, because there's a night 6. First I'd like to show you a pretty cool Easter egg that I got when starting night 6 once. Now on to night 6 itself. At the start of night 6 you get a distorted phone call. So when I was playing night 6, something interesting happened. Somehow when Freddy jump scared me, I didn't die. This deactivates everyone's AI, and now my character just spends the rest of the night having a wank. I have absolutely no idea how this happened. I'm not sure if there's a way to activate this glitch, or if it's just something that happens at random. When you beat night 6, you get one last arcade minigame. This shows 2 employees arguing over the safety of a Fredbear suit. In an attempt to prove that the suit is safe, one of the employees go inside it. And you see where this is going. And that's it. That's the end of the game. Okay, so the last night of Freddy's has certainly not aged the best. Other than that though, I actually think this game is decent. I really do admire the creativity this game took rather than just being another Return to Freddy's clone. I really do recommend playing this game, it deserves a lot more attention than what it got. Interestingly, there was a Last Night of Freddy's 2 in development, with the trailer being released in November of 2016. Sadly though, this game was cancelled. Despite the obscurity this game faded into, it was actually quite influential. Fazbear Return 5 took inspiration from The Last Night at Freddy's, and Dave and Callie actually made cameos in the game. Tommaso Didio would go on to be one of the developers for Dormitabus. Also, Blackout and Own Trick actually helped out with making The Last Night at Freddy's. So this game might have actually been inspiration for Dormitabus. If there's anything to take note from this video, it's that great FNaF fan games aren't always well known. I honestly think that if more people had played The Last Night at Freddy's when it first came out, it might have actually been considered one of the best FNaF fan games at that point. Which really does make me think, is there some 10 out of 10 FNaF fan game that no one knows about? I guess we'll have to wait till someone discovers it. Okay, there's one more thing I need to say. Big Dick Animatronic!